Game on! The series is locked up at 1 after the Chicago Sky beat the Liberty Game 2, and it all comes down to Game 3 on Tuesday night. SNY's Marino is here to talk Liberty basketball because it's win or it's go home. So, Maria, the Liberty came from behind, took Game 1, but Game 2, the Chicago Sky had a statement win. What was the difference between Game 1 and Game 2?
Well, every single aspect was different between Game 1 and Game 2, but the things that really jumped off the page for me were the rebounding and the defense. So the Sky out-rebounded the Liberty 45-28 in Game 2. And then defensively, the Sky scored 25 points off of 19 Liberty turnovers as opposed to just 10 points off of 8 turnovers in Game 1. So there's a few things that go along with that. One is just the preparation, right? The execution. Okay. It's the Sky knowing the scout, knowing the assignment, being ready to perform in that sense. But then the other aspect is really the mentality. So I have to say the Sky were probably pretty embarrassed that they dropped Game 1 on their home floor to the underdogs. And the way that they lost too, with the Liberty going on a 13-0 run late in the fourth quarter to close out that game in Game 1, that made the Liberty look like the more poised, experienced playoff team, which is really not the case. Really, the Sky are that. And so they had that extra fuel on Saturday to really come out and make that statement. And boy, did they make that statement.
Yeah. Well, all eyes are on Game 2, and what game within the game should we be looking at, and what Liberty players need to step up?
Well, I think that the Liberty need to sort of take a page out of the Sky's book, right? So the Sky were fueled in that Game 2 by that feeling of like, oh, we let one get away. Yeah. Now it's the Liberty's turn to be pissed off. And I'm using that phrase because that's the phrase that Natasha Howard used Monday in her media availability. She said, we're pissed off. They should be, because they were just flat out embarrassed and outplayed and out-hustled in every single aspect on Saturday. And so now it's their turn to use that as fuel. The good thing is, no matter how big the margin of victory was on Saturday, it's still only one game. Okay. You said it. Yeah. This series is knotted at one game apiece. It's 1-1. So the Liberty kind of have to forget about everything else besides the fact that, hey, we're coming out hungry. And guess what? They're on their home floor. They're at Barclays Center, the first ever Liberty playoff game being played there, and the first Liberty playoff game at home in 5 years. So their fans are going to be 100% behind them. But as far as who needs to step up, it's everybody. Everybody,
including Marino. Yeah. Obviously, she had the dominant performance that Game 1, but Game 2, they locked her up, only held her to 7 points. What do the Liberty need to do to get her going and create more chances for her?
Well, as I mentioned, it really is going to be a collective effort because everybody up and down the lineup just was not productive in Game 2. However, Marino is she's the one that the Liberty run everything through, for sure, but she needs help. And it's no surprise to me that after the Liberty added Crystal Dangerfield and Maureen Johannes earlier in this season, that's when they started doing better, right? Because it took some pressure off Sabrina in terms of ball handling, in terms of getting into their offense. So they need to do more of that. They need to share the basketball. They need to collectively move the ball more, and they also need to individually move without the ball. Be patient, be disciplined, look for the best shot, and try to stay as poised as possible. And if they do those things, and you know, the bright side is too, they've had a couple days of rest here. Like I said, they're back in Brooklyn, they're comfortable. So it's certainly something they can do. They can channel what they did in Game 1. And so I expect this to be a close game. I don't think this is going to be another blowout.
All right. Well, like my mother used to say, to be the best, you gotta...
Yes, beat the best.
Absolutely.
And they got to beat the defending champs.
Absolutely. And it all goes down at the Barclays on Tuesday night. Maria, thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.